Welcome back to another episode of The Top Six. Arsenal on the brink of signing Porto midfielder Fábio Vieira. Gabriel Jesus as well, very, very close after further talks today. An £80 million bid for Victor Osimhen is also being discussed with Arsenal. They have absolutely gone to town today in the transfer window. We're going to be rounding that up and talking who's got the best pull. Spurs or Arsenal? Who's the most attractive club, Spurs or Arsenal? We're just going to look at a roundup of the rest of the transfers that are being discussed right now. David Ornstein talking about Frenkie de Jong probably happening and going to Manchester United, it just being a bit of a poker game from Barcelona. Big updates as well on Calvin Phillips to Manchester City, Christian Eriksen's future as well and where he will end up. And Paul Pogba having a big dig at Manchester United. Great panel for you tonight, as you can see. We're joined by Spurs fan. Jordan is here with us to have his say. Of course, we'll reflect on the Basuma signing as well 24 hours later. Colleen and Jess are here, two Gooners on the show today, here to celebrate their successes in the transfer window. Daniel's here with us as well, and Have Hope will be joining us very, very soon indeed. Yes, there'll be some Cucurella news on here as well. I can see people asking, but how is everyone? How's everyone? Especially Gooners. Jess, Colleen, how you both feeling?
Go ahead, Colleen.
Good. It's always good to be linked to another Vieira to the Arsenal. I feel like it's always a good day when something like that happens.
How about yourself, Jay? I mean, we spoke just before we went live. You were very excited then. Where's the excitement gone?
I was not like, don't act like I was jumping around. Like, relax. No, but I'm excited, of course. I love signings, like, especially the ones that come out of the blue are the best. But I was already happy about the Gabriel Jesus news. Like, that was enough for me for the day, knowing that that looks like it's going to move forward. But having somebody just like out of the blue and it be a decent player, not about to sit here and act like I know everything about this kid. But he seems to be highly spoken of. So it also goes to show that we know nothing. And just a couple of days ago, everybody, including me, was acting like Arsenal were sitting around doing nothing. And clearly they were getting deals done. So we just need to relax. You know, it's early on in the window. And so, yeah, like, looks good. Still a ways to go, though. I think the big question for Arsenal fans is Fábio Vieira instead of Tielemans or plus Tielemans? If it's instead of, that's it. Adu is still in the doghouse. So, yeah, but so far, so good.
I mean, what's your gut feeling on this? Because again, what I will say about Fábio Vieira, and I'd love to get Dan and George's takes on this. I've seen a few tweets from Gooners. 22, technical, brilliant player. I'm excited. I've not seen this guy's name on the timeline ever. Like, no one's tweeted about it. Again, you recognize the name Vieira, Arsenal connection. You'd see it, right? You'd see it trending. The only time I saw Vieira's name mentioned is when they were crying after getting beat by Palace in the top 4 race. Do you think Arsenal fans should feel happy with this signing, or should they be demanding more? What are you saying, George?
I mean, it's just a start. You got to demand more. These guys are talking about going into the top 4. They're talking about not challenging, but taking the next step next season. They need the players to do that. You can't be signing 22-year-olds from Portugal and expect that to take you to the next level. I'm not trying to take away from his talent at all. He looks like a really good and tidy player. But like you said, Terry, no one was talking about this guy 6 months ago. I remember when we was linked with Diaz. No one even talked about Diaz. Again, who's this guy? So it's the same thing for Vieira. No one knows what to expect when he comes into the Premier League. And it's going to be a big step up for him in general from the Portuguese league to the Premier League, especially being a central midfielder. So I'm interested to see how they're going to fit him into the team. But they definitely need a lot more than this. And I do think it is only the start of their window. So they, as Jay said, they've got a lot of time to do business.
I think my feeling is that this is plus Tielemans. Like, they're not similar at all. So for it to be an instead of would be a U-turn in the transfer window. And Tielemans doesn't feel like a smokescreen. And then that also, and like Colleen, I don't know how you feel about this, but I know we need a lot of depth, but Tielemans coming in, I feel like would kind of spell the end for Granit Xhaka. Like, somebody has to go in that midfield. Do you think if we were to get Tielemans as well, that would mean maybe one of the midfielders would go?
I mean, I'm coming at it from like a few different viewpoints, to be fair. And I think you're right, because We also have we've got Xhaka, Partey, Lokonga, and then if we bring in Tielemans as well as Vieira, who's now basically 90% there, essentially just waiting proper confirmation from the club, you would think someone else would have to go. But with that being said, I would have to wait to see the Tielemans deal actually being done, because my other concern is with Vieira is that the whole of last season, the biggest excuse or explanation for Arsenal was like, oh, they're young players. And we were all like, okay, in this summer, we've got in a good core of young players. I'm not saying we stopped buying young players, but, you know, Vieira is a very young player. So it's still early. So I'm not going to go crazy or anything like that. But I would like to see more experience, and bringing in a younger player, 22, new to league, and then getting rid of one of our most experienced players, granted it's Xhaka, I think is a bit risky. You know, I don't want to be having the same excuses as last season. I'm not having it. So, but let's
I
see.
think Tielemans would replace the experience for Granite, but I do hear what you're saying, and like I just want that guy gone so bad that, like, you know, I just want him gone. But like I hear what you're saying. But yeah, I mean, it's just a start. It definitely can't just be that, you know.
Well, of course it can't be. And I think, again, if you just bring in Vieira looks, I mean, I've done what everybody's probably done this afternoon. I've gone onto YouTube. I've had a little look. I've done some research statistically. I've read some scouting reports on him. He sounds very promising and very good, but you need that experience. And if you bring in Yuri Tielemans and him, suddenly the depth in your midfield changes with Thomas Partey. You've got Lokonga that is still predicted to go on to be a very, very talented player, less pressure upon him. But it's about doing more than just this. I think Arsenal fans have got to continue to demand that, if that makes sense. I think that's what's going to be really, really important for them to do. So it's going to be an intriguing one. Another, obviously, the Gabriel Jesus news, though, this morning kind of broke from Fabrizio at the beginning that more talks would happen. And then there was a bid of around 30+ million. It's expected to rise to the low 40s. But I think the biggest take on it, again, was confirmation for the first time from the British press that Gabriel Jesus wants Arsenal. Yes, there's been interest from some clubs abroad. There's interest, and Chelsea and Spurs have shown interest in him, but Arsenal appears to be the club for him. Would you say that Jesus is enough in the attacking options, or do you need more?
No. I mean, for
I
me,
see Colleen doing this. Yeah.
I mean, realistically, we'd be going in with Jesus and Nketiah. That was never, for me, I always said, regardless of Nketiah being there, we need two strikers. At least. We just don't have, we lost Aubameyang and Lacazette. So I don't, Nketiah to me is like null. It's just, I'm not even counting whether he's there or not. We need two. So I think we still need more. What the budget allows and what we actually do are two different things. And sorry, it just literally just occurred to me now, just to backpedal a little bit, that obviously Torreira's deal to Fiorentina fell through. He's not going. So unless we can find a deal for him as well, he'll be here for the next season until we can find someone else. So that just occurred to me that it's pretty stacked. And going back to Jess, that it could mean the exit. If he doesn't end up going this summer, Xhaka's probably going to have to go.
Well,
yeah, Gabriel Jesus is not enough. I think we can all everybody agrees on that. It's not enough, but equally, it's early in the window. We're linked with other attackers. Like, I just can't, you lost Aubameyang, Lacazette, and Pepe is probably going to go. So you have to make sure that you get it, all of it. And I know that as Arsenal fans, we're so used to not having any money, but Arsenal cried broke right at the beginning of this window. There's some money there and it needs to be spent on attack. No defenders, unless it's like a backup left back. And that's like the last thing. We need at least two attackers to come in. I don't care if it's a striker. Like, it could be another winger. It just needs to be somebody that can bring in goals, that can really just sit Martinelli and even Bukayo Saka on the bench. Like, we need other players that are better than them to up the level of the squad. So yeah, I mean, I think we'll probably get somebody else. It's just a matter of, are they going to cop out and bring in a Cody Gakpo or somebody like that that's kind of young like the rest of our team, or is it going to be somebody that really lifts the level? That's the question.
Mm-hmm.
What do you make, Jordan? There's a rumor going around that Arsenal are preparing an 80+ million pound bid for Victor Osimhen. Do you see Arsenal having the pull to be able to bring a player like him in with no Champions League football?
I don't personally. I think that he's the type of player where he's in a position that he's got a lot of clubs after him. He's not in a rush to leave. And if it means he needs to wait another 12 months for a move or wait till January, I think he's going to hold that move out. I don't see him going to Arsenal. I think Jesus is the player that they're going to be looking at. I think Jesus is, if you do sign him, I personally think you're just going to be signing him as your sole striker. I don't see why he'd be coming to Arsenal to be a backup option or play on the right, even though he's done that at City. He's done that at City and won things. He's done that at City and I mean, look at the level of their team. He's not coming to Arsenal, dropping his level down to be a backup player. So I think he's going to come there, play his strike. But Osimhen, he's going to look over Arsenal, man. Any day, any other Champions League team comes in, he's jumping over there. They want to play at the high level. They don't want to be playing in Europa League. He's done enough of that with Napoli. Come on, man.
Who else is after Osimhen? You said there's a ton of clubs after him. Who's also after him?
So if we're talking about after him right now, there's not a ton of clubs that are actually going out there putting in bids for him. There's a ton of clubs that are watching him and scouting him, and not a ton of clubs need a striker. It's very clear and very open. It's been reported all season, not just the past month or two. All season, Osimhen's been the striker at the tip of everyone's tongue, talking about the big summer move. It's been him and a few other names. So he's going to have a move away from Napoli, regardless whether it's Arsenal or another team, and he can wait another 12 months for that if he needs to.
Do you know what? I said it yesterday. I'm going to go to have hope on this first. Osimhen, one of your boys, one of the Eagles there.
Wait, no, don't say it's one of my boys, man. It's like if we want to be real, man.
It's one of your boys. What you said? Will he go Arsenal?
No. Before we go Arsenal, I blame him for the reason why Nigeria are not at the World Cup. So I'm not a fan of it. No. So don't call him on my boy and everything. He is to blame as to whether or not the World Cup because that moron missed 3 billion chances and so forth. If you're being real, the guy needs to he isn't as good as people say he is. Again, it's basically Twitter. There are guys on Twitter who need their accounts hacked or blocked because people hype up. Same thing as Charles Darwin and Nunes, that's clown, who they think is like the next big striker. Osimhen, he's not that good. And this is from a Nigerian myself. So if I'm saying this, it's real. He is very, very raw. So if Arsenal are going for him, don't expect that he'll now come to the EPL and now score 25 goals because there is a Serie A tax. A Serie A tax exists. So guys, if you ball in the Serie A, it doesn't mean that you'll ball in the EPL. So my thing is that Jesus was actually a better option for Arsenal. And if Osimhen comes, he'll be high, but don't think he's not going to be a huge hit because the guy needs to improve a lot. So
you think 80 odd million pounds is? I mean, the story that I read sort of said that Arsenal were looking to do it to stop Man United from getting him. 80 million, you think is far too steep for him then?
Oh no, what's 80 mil for Osimhen?
Yeah, 80 mil.
Yeah,
that's madness.
I think all of these prices are crazy. A youngster that's unproven 80 mil is just stupid.
No. Same thing. It's like Darwin Nunes is like 70. But here's the thing: nobody is worth the prices. The fridge, Jerry Maguire, how much was it? 80 mil. So I just think that prices are just inflated for every single player right now. So 80 and 90 mil, I mean, I'm sure they'll give Kane 120 mil. It doesn't mean they're actually worth 120. It's because of the whole Neymar 222 that's PSG paid for. Everything has now been inflated. So at the end of the day, you just have to if you badly want a player, you just have to just pay the going price. That price doesn't mean that they're actually worth that, so forth. So
the price is one thing.
I guess with... Oh, go ahead, Ter.
No, I was going to say that this super chat here, pause on this. If Jesus believes in what's going on at Arsenal, why wouldn't Victor O? Clearly, from today's business, we don't know what's going to happen. And equally, listen, I think all the journalists that we have on the Football Terrace give you in-depth insight into what's going on. And they both say the same thing regularly, that the market is fluid. We don't know what's actually going to happen. Because I did a video earlier on today, and people are like, no way, and Cuckoo's leaving. RB Leipzig have said he's not for sale. They said he's not for sale while setting a price. That's quite literally. If I tell you my house is not for sale, but if you give me $500,000, it's yours, that means it's for fucking sale. It's sometimes football fans honestly confuse me with their stupidity. And half the time I don't think it's stupidity, actually. It's they're scared of a rival signing a good player, so they pull onto the negative side of it. Of course, Arsenal got the pull to bring him in. I disagree with Jordan on this. I said it yesterday. Arsenal are still massive. Arsenal without Champions League can still attract some of the best talent in the world.
How?
Now, of course,
wait, Tara, you can't say that. How?
What do you mean? How they've got?
In 1 minute, you guys said that he's not that good, and then the other minute, but Arsenal still can't get him. So what is it? Is he an unproven kid that's overpriced, that's not that good, or is he so good that he can't come to Arsenal? I'm confused.
No,
I
no,
need
no, no.
clarity.
I'm saying that Arsenal can get someone like Osimhen because I don't think the guy is as good as people make him out to be. For Jesus, it depends on what he wants. Because I think Jesus is like, I'm a starter and so forth. So do I want to play in the freaking Europa League or do I want to do the UCL? I think that if you're a player who is looking mainly for money rather than actually playing in the elite competition, go to Arsenal. They'll pay you a lot of money. But if you want to remain in the UCL and so forth, you want no part with Arsenal. So it depends on what you want as a player.
And just to clarify, it's not that me personally, I think Osimhen's a good player, but I think that he's a player that knows he knows his own value. I don't think he's rushing for a move, and that's why I said that it's not that Arsenal can't attract him. You can of course attract him, but I personally think that he's going to be thinking about the better move. And if another team is available, if he knows that there's other teams available, he's
What
going
other teams
to
do
look
you
elsewhere.
think would realistically be in for him and would choose Arsenal over? Realistically, these kind of other teams, who do you think would be interested in him?
Again, as Terry said, the market's so fluid. There's so many teams
But
that
like,
want
what do you
strikers right now. We can't
What
name.
kind
I
of
feel
I
like
can't.
these
So
are kind
what
of
I'm-
like open statements. Like I asked you
It's-
who's
I
actually
said a
linked with
Champions
him,
League
and then
club.
you said, I don't know. But then
So-
who?
So
But
okay,
a champion,
Who is
it doesn't.
that?
No, but as Terry said, the market's fluid. He can go to any other team that's in for him. I don't need to name a team that he will choose off over Arsenal. It's any Champions
Because you
League
said
club.
like definitively
team
there
with
are other
Champions
teams
League
in
football.
for him.
well, I
You
don't
said-
think
you
I
just
said
said
there's other teams.
definitively. That's all I'm
I
saying.
never said there's other teams in for him this summer. I never said that definitively at all.
I don't necessarily think your thinking is one. I mean, I'm personally, when it comes to players generally, we hear a lot more nowadays than you did used to, that players are into projects and things like this. And I think if you're, as a player, say if you're interested in going to the Premier League, in my opinion, and you're looking at clubs, if clubs are in for you, like your United's, Arsenal, Tottenham, those say those three, just as an example, okay? If you're telling me that you're only interested, if you're telling me that, one of them, like say in the situation that we're in now, Tottenham have Champions League, Arsenal and United don't. Are you telling me that they would rather go to Tottenham because they just got Champions League that season when it's not guaranteed the next season when it was with those two other clubs where they could have quite easily got it as well? It's definitely not guaranteed for next season. It's not like it's a Chelsea. It's not like it's a Liverpool or City. And I'm not even saying that to have a dig at Tottenham, but we cannot categorically say any of those three clubs that anyone that gets will, if they had Champions League one season, are going to get it for the next season, the
You
one
could,
after
though.
that.
But Arsenal
not
haven't played Champions League for 6 years. There's a difference. Tottenham have gone 2 years without Champions League. It's not a very long time. Tottenham's established
you're
ourselves
using
as a team that plays in Champions League.
You've picked your own time frame there as well. And
No, it's
secondly,
not. It's because you haven't played for that long. That's just since the last time you played.
I mean, but Colleen, even like his point, it doesn't stand up. We haven't had Champions League in a long time, and we still got Aubameyang and Thomas Partey. Like, it doesn't hold water. Like, Arsenal and Tottenham are not the same. You guys need Champions League in order to attract. We don't.
No,
These
but
are
this is where
facts.
you're getting a different. But this is where the
I'm
difference
not.
lies. You talk about like Thomas Partey was a release clause signing. No teams were in for him. You didn't have
He
to
still-
attract
he
Thomas
still
Partey.
had-
You
he
paid his
still
release
had
clause,
to- No,
and he wanted
remember
to leave.
Simeone was pissed that Simeone did not want to sell him. He had
Partey
to agree
wanted
to
to
come.
leave.
You can't just say, actually, Thomas Partey, we're taking you. He
No,
had to agree to
wait,
come.
on a release.
We didn't kidnap him. We didn't go over there with a bag and say, actually, get in. We're taking you. He had to.
Then
he had to
I
say
would
he
look.
wanted
I
to
would look at
come.
him and say that's a lack of ambition. Because if he wanted for the best of his career, he would have stayed and won the league in which they
So
done
we're
that
having
season.
a
He left
complete
Arsenal.
different conversation. We've been able to attract Champions League level talent without it. So there you go.
I don't agree. The talent you're talking about is not Champions League level. But
So is Aubameyang not
agree to
Champions
disagree on
League
that.
level quality?
No.
Aubameyang
He was when you signed, but was it not Wenger when you had Wenger at that time?
doesn't
You had
matter.
Wenger at that time. Okay, different
matter.
conversation. It does. When you have Wenger, an
You
established manager.
you guys are moving the goalpost. This is a dead
It's not
conversation.
moving the goalpost
We
because
could
this
get
is a part of
Osimhen if
attracting.
It's
a
more
part of
about
attracting.
if we could pay than if Osimhen would come. I think that's
So
more of it.
yeah.
Is would we
So if
be
it's
willing to
about-
actually pay the 86 million? I think that's
So
more
it's
of the
about what you
question
can
than
attract.
would Osimhen come.
If it's about what you can attract, like you just said, there's other bits that contribute to it, then I could make another ridiculous statement and say, well, trophies also matter about what you can attract. And Tottenham can't remember the last time they even won a trophy. So is that
Not
ambition?
necessarily, though.
I
Do
mean,
you think?
Son's
Not
own
necessarily-
dad said he needs to leave
Not
Tottenham in
necessarily
order to be considered a world-class player. Like,
Okay, his dad said that a few years ago. It's not a recent quote, but that's fine. He can consider that. His dad doesn't make up football. But also, when we talk about the attraction of a team, as you said, trophies, players aren't going to look into the trophy that you won, an FA Cup, a domestic trophy, which foreign players don't care about. An English player, maybe. Foreign players don't care about the FA Cup. Let's get one thing straight. So they're not going to look at the fact you won an FA Cup and say,
But
yes,
they'll
I
look
want
at
to
the
go to this team because they won a domestic trophy. What foreign players are going to do, they're going to say is, I want to play at the highest level. I want to play in the World Cup. I want to play in the Champions League. They're the two goals for any player. If you can offer Champions League, it's going to significantly boost your hopes of attracting that player to your team.
Or I'll say though, or if they're chasing money, if let's say a player has zero football
One
heritage,
second, Have.
and
I'm going to
zero-
say, one sec, Jordan. Can you check your DMs, please, for a second, please, mate? Is that cool? Just check your DMs. You've been sent a message. Cheers. So go on, carry on, Have.
No. I'm just saying, like, I think if it's a case of where you're a player who just cares mainly about money, then that's how you'll move to a Man United or an Arsenal who can offer you a lot of money but no real heritage. But if your guy says, no, it's not about money, I want to now go to a place where I'm playing in the Champions League and I can actually have a good chance at the Champions League. It's a good project, a good team, and so forth. Then that's what you'd go in for. So
Yeah, I think there's a.
I mean, so basically, we're saying that Osimhen can come to Arsenal. It just depends on whether or not he wants money or Champions League. So, in the end of the day, we can attract him, right? Okay.
No, you can attract Osimhen, but I think
That's
because
what we're
Osimhen is
talking
not
about.
But
he's
you
not
know
a
what?
It
massive
doesn't
target.
hurt. It doesn't
just-
hurt me that you guys are saying that he's not good and he wants money.
let me
I
just
don't care.
interject for a second.
The
Let me just
question was,
interject.
could we get Osimhen?
Let me just interject for a second, please. What I would say about the money argument is this, though. As long as your club is being run right and the attitude of players is right, it doesn't matter. In the early days, people weren't joining Chelsea or Man City for heritage or for what they'd done in the past. They were doing it because no one's going to join Newcastle now. Bruno Guimaraes did not join Newcastle because of Alan Shearer. He joined because they're building something that could be special in the future. And I look at it this way. If Arsenal are really doing the right thing, if they sell the project correctly, they can attract players. If they land, which it looks like they're going to do, Tielemans and Gabriel Jesus, and then they go in for someone like Osimhen and say, look, we want to make you a megastar. We want to bring you in. Look who else we've bought. Look what we're building. That's massively attractive because I think Arsenal got such great pulling power still. There isn't a dig at Spurs because Spurs are on the way up as well. There's no doubt with Conte. Look who they're brought in and look who they're linked to. I want to do some of the super chats here. I don't want to miss them. First one here says that Spurs fan needs to stop talking. He's capping. That's to you, George. Josh here says, Jess, we got Romero whilst we were in the Conference League. See here says, dang, the ladies take it easy with the facts. Comment here from a Liverpool fan, Sean Bay says, Jess spitting facts. Man United, Liverpool and Arsenal don't need Champions League football to attract players. And Jay says, Arsenal attract big players now, but this project failed. Attract big players now, but this project failed. Then the problem starts with, and it becomes like United, who can't attract good players now. So basically saying you can attract good players now, Arsenal, but if it fails, you'll struggle in the future, is what's being said there, which I think is a fair comment. Like, if you fail, the more projects that fail, the less chance you get signing top players.
I agree.
There's no doubt. But then most people said Man United weren't going to be able to get De Jong. And, you know, as David Ornstein said today, it's probably going to happen. It's just poker from Barcelona. Like,
Terry needs that carrot. He needs that. He needs that.
He needs anything.
But we're going to touch on that a little bit later.
That.
Right now, Have Hope, I want to ask you this question. Viewers, by the way, make sure you're smashing the like button for us. Let's get this past 500 likes while we're live on the air, please. Keep those super chats coming as well. Big thank you. Have Hope, who would you say is the more attractive club right now? If this was a big debate yesterday on Twitter, across a lot of social media, who would you say the most attractive club is right now? Tottenham or Arsenal?
Tottenham. And that's because Arteta is known for putting out the cones for Pep. He's overrated. Conte is a guy who may be UCL flop, but look at what he did for Italy at the Euros. You look at what he did for Juventus. Look at what he did for Inter Milan. So if I'm a player and so forth, I look at Antonio Conte. He's 3 times the manager that Arteta is. I look at the players that they have there. You've got Harry Kane, domestic merchants, but he's still good domestically. You look at Son, you look at the players around him, you look at Kulusevski, you look at Romero. And now buying Bissouma. So Tottenham, for me, they seem like a much more exciting project, because I think as of right now, you see, back in like the late 90s and 2000s, it was about superstars. Oh yeah, I want to go because I want to play with him, and him. Like, let's be real. The individual quality has fallen, and it's much more about managers and systems. So guys like your Marcelo, Dani Alves, they don't exist anymore. So right now you're now buying into what the manager is selling. So right now you're comparing, would I rather play for Conte or would I rather play for Arteta? You're not going there to play with Harry Kane. You're not going there to play with freaking Eddie Nketiah. I say, don't want to play for Conte or Arteta, and it's easy. You want to play for Conte. So
Any rebuttal to that?
I have.
Magula? Okay,
Go on. I'll let the
Oh, you
Gooners
go,
go.
I mean,
Go on,
I think
go on.
I think it depends on the angle. I think it depends on the angle you're looking at. But I'm not even saying this even as like an Arsenal fan, because I think at the minute Arsenal are not in a good moment for the Arsenal that we've all grown up knowing. That's a fact. Whereas the Tottenham that we've grown up knowing is also different from the Tottenham in front of us. In fact, it's a better Tottenham. That is true. I believe Tottenham are better than what it was when I was growing up watching them. So I think there is different moments within the two clubs and the projects. But if you're looking at it from a manager point of view, it depends on what your main motivation is. Is it the package of the project and the manager? Conte is a serial winner, and he tends to win quickly and then dips. So if you think you can go to Tottenham now and win, that could be it because of Conte. However, if you're coming at it from like a heritage point of view and like that traditional big club, your clubs like Arsenal, they will always come on top. But it depends on which angle you're looking at. I don't think it's a clear cut. Arsenal tick every box and Spurs tick every box. It just simply depends on: are you interested in the project? Are you interested in the manager? Are you interested in the club? I don't think if it's one absolute, it has to be absolutes. It really depends on the player profile, their age, and where they're coming from. I don't think it's one or it's a straight up no.
Just to piggyback off of that, I would just say that like a couple of days ago, we weren't getting Gabriel Jesus and he was going to Chelsea or Tottenham full stop because they're bigger and better and all that kind of stuff. And they have Conte and they have Tuchel. Yeah, it's true. Hold on. Let me land first.
I'm not saying nothing.
Okay, just making sure because I haven't finished yet. So all I'm saying is that sometimes it does depend on different parts of the project. Like Colleen has already kind of explained. All things being equal, it depends on what the player wants. So it could be attractive to different players. Now, in terms of like, if I was a player, I probably would want to go with a proven manager. So I would say that Tottenham probably have a little bit of an edge there. Like, I'm not about to sit here and act like if I'm a player and I have a choice between Arteta and Conte, I'm going to choose Arteta unless I have a connection or Arsenal can offer me more playing time and I want to go to the World Cup. There's certain circumstances which make it valid that Arsenal are still attractive to certain players. And let's not get it twisted. We are like linked to a lot of the same players. Rafinha, Gabriel Jesus, Richarlison, Tielemans. And so at the end of this window, I think it's going to be important to see who lands where, because I think that can be a big, answer between Tottenham and Arsenal where they are right now. But I do think Tottenham do have an edge with Conte. Proven managers make a difference. So I would say Tottenham marginally, but we're still attracting the same players and we're able to get some of the ones that you guys are attracting as well. So, I think it's closer than it looks.
I need to disagree with the point that Colleen made, first of all, about the big club status thing. Like, I really think people overhype this when it comes to signings. Because let's just say 10 years ago, just before Klopp, when Liverpool were down and out, they're still the biggest club, one of the biggest clubs in England. They couldn't attract fuck all. They couldn't attract no one. They were getting the likes of Jose Enrique, John Flanagan, and so on. Being a big club does not make players want to go and play for you. They may have grown up supporting
I'm
Arsenal.
saying certain players. You can't count it out completely. What I'm saying is it could be one of the factors, not the factor.
Of course, there's going to be many variables, and some players.
And I'm saying some players.
No, but I'm saying that if there's one player that supports Arsenal, maybe he grew up watching Arsenal, he wants to go play there. But at the end of the day, players are looking to make the best decisions for their football careers, for their families, and on front they're looking to win. Tottenham, like as all of you have all had.
I feel like you've disagreed with me, but we've agreed because we've just agreed that I said certain players it may be a factor, and you've literally said to certain players it may be a factor.
But you're making it seem like it's a bigger factor than it is. When I'm just saying that, I'm saying very specifically. I'm saying very specifically. No, but you said that it's a
Guys,
big
guys,
club. You said,
sorry, guys. Let each other finish because it's actually hard to hear what you're both saying. Let each other finish and then go. Sorry, go on.
do you want to clarify what you just said before I carry on? Because
What was clear, I never said that the big club status was the factor. I said there are many factors. It could be that football heritage. It could be the manager. It could also be the squads. And I even said myself, if it's a manager, I'm going with Conte and Tottenham. I feel like we've said we've disagreed, but we've agreed.
no, because what I'm trying to say basically is that if you're breaking it down to big clubs, it isn't big clubs. It's literally only is if you have a link, like Jess said, if you have a link to that team yourself that you want to go play for that team. If you haven't got a link to the team and it's a big club, you're not going to go to them. So let's just say, for example, Bissouma, who just came to Tottenham, he has many links to Arsenal. He's supposedly an Arsenal fan himself. He's posted himself. He bought Arsenal shirts. They've seen it posted on his Instagram. He's still at Tottenham. He's at the lodge right now, having a cup of coffee,
Yeah.
signing his contract. Being an Arsenal fan, it doesn't make a difference. I'm just saying that for me, it doesn't make a difference. The manager, the project
Do you
is
think
the main
do you
point.
think it would have made a difference if we had put in a bid?
No, because again, the
I do.
manager.
I think if we had put in a bid, it would have made a difference. Because remember, Aston Villa is the only other team that was seriously interested in him. So it made it easy to make that choice.
You could say that, but
Harry, is
again,
that true?
if he wanted to,
Sorry, say that again, please. I wasn't listening.
So remember when we talked about the Bissouma thing yesterday? Wasn't it Aston Villa was the team that he rejected, right?
Yeah, Aston Villa were the team that also went in for him. Arsenal had a loose interest but never made a bid.
So you don't think if Arsenal had made a bid, it would have mattered? I think it would have mattered. I think if we had went toe-to-toe, we would have got him.
I don't think so. And my point is simply because, like you guys have all highlighted, I don't really have to. The manager and the project that we have is a lot. It's a lot bigger and it's a lot more finished than where Arsenal is. You guys are in a place where you've got a lot of young players. You're still building. You remind me of when Tottenham, when we had Pochettino, with the types of players that we're signing were young, and we're looking forward to the next 2 to 3 years to build for the potential of what the team can become. But not right now. Tottenham are signing players that are already in their primes, players that are already established, and that's what we're looking for. They will come to Tottenham over going to Arsenal because they're looking to win right now. They're looking to do things right now. They're looking to play Champions
I
League.
think you're projecting a lot as if you know exactly what Bissouma's thinking.
I haven't. Again, you keep saying Bissouma. You keep trying to narrow it down. I'm literally talking about players in general. I use Bissouma as an
we're
example.
talking about Bissouma, but
I used him
you're
an example,
saying
but I'm talking
he
about
wants
players.
to come here because of blank, but you actually don't know why. It's because Aston Villa was the only other team interested in him. And so it made the choice a lot easier, right?
Okay, so no, not necessarily. That's what you're assuming to say, because Aston Villa in for him right now. If he wanted to and he didn't want to come to Tottenham, he could have waited out the deal. Tottenham could have been there in a month and asked, he could have seen for what other teams came, but he never. He came to Tottenham because we're the big team that came to the table and there was no choice. He said himself, you're going to see when the interview comes out, he wanted Tottenham. There was no other team in his mind. It was Tottenham that he wanted. But let's just move on from this because again,
I'll say before
you also realize that players say like anything once they sign for a team. They could have been on the doorstep of another team. If it switches over, they say this is the team I've always wanted to play for, right?
He say, she say. That's all we're gonna do here. I can.
Okay. All right.
Something real quick. Just ask something real quick. Like,
yeah, go on.
How do you guys define what a big team is? What is the definition of a big team? Because I think that's where I'm confused. Like, what defines a big team?
Chelsea.
Okay, but what is the definition? Is it what you've done in your history? Is it how big you are right now?
Everything. It's a combination of everything. It's your history. It's the size of your fan base. It's the financial pool that you've got. It's the fact that, you know, everything that your club does trends on social media. Of course, it's what you're doing right now as well. The point I would make is this. Liverpool are a bigger club than Man City, right? But right now, Man City, because they're the best team in England. So but City are growing in stature. They're growing as a club, but they still get mocked because they can't sell out their stadium, or there's social media. Like there was a meme I saw the other day, and it was like literally since he signed for Man City, Haaland's social media presence hasn't grown at all. It was probably mocked up, but it was a funny joke. But City is still a big club. They're not as big as Liverpool though, even though they're on paper better than Liverpool right now. I think it's a combination of everything: your history, your heritage, your manager now, what you're doing now, the size of fans that you've got. You know, you could be a team winning multiple Premier Leagues, but if another club's got 10 times as many fans, or a bigger club than you. I think Is there a sentence to define it? Maybe there isn't one, but that for me would be my interpretation. I just wanted to say on this debate really quickly, I wanted to chime in and say this. Basuma did pick Spurs. He wanted Spurs as the product. Arsenal didn't bid for him. It would have been very interesting to see if Arsenal said, we want you to start over Thomas Partey. We want to give you this amount of money. We want to make you the gem of our midfield. If he would have still picked Tottenham. That's the only time you're really going to get an answer to this is when they go for the same player and you offer him the same position. It's like Gabriel Jesus. Spurs have shown an interest, but the interest is, but you're not going to play over Harry Kane. So, of course, Gabriel Jesus is more inclined to want to play for Arsenal because he wants first-team football. So I don't always think, it's about the size of the club. It is sometimes, it isn't always. It's sometimes about the position that's available and where you can play. You look at the Rafinha deal right now. Chelsea looking at him as an example. Liverpool looking at him. Arsenal looking at him. I think the reason that I give Arsenal less of a chance isn't because of where they're playing in Champions League status. It's that like Chelsea have got an opening in their squad for him. Does that make sense? If Man United went for him, there's an opening. We need a right-sided attacker. I think those factors also play a really big part, like in these moments. But excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. Viewers, I want to get your thoughts and your feelings. Who's the most attractive team right now? I'm going to make a poll actually on this in the live comments section. Who is more? I should have written this while you guys are talking. Really, who is more attractive? I'm going to write Spurs or Arsenal, and we're talking purely for players to join. Who is more attractive? Very simple and easy one for you to do there. We've got some more super chats that came through. I don't want to miss these. City will overtake United's league titles. Yeah, and when they do, then they do. We'll have that conversation when it happens, my guy. Got to overtake our attendance first. If Arsenal makes the Champions League, people say it's useless because we'll get knocked out. When Spurs make the Champions League, it means nothing. Make that make sense. I just think that's why I think Arsenal being in the Champions League would have been very good for them. But I still think Arsenal can sign top quality players without it, and they're proving that with who they're signing this summer. Terry, United are begging on their knees for De Jong. We'll get back to Man United's begging in a bit. Aubameyang came to Arsenal when they weren't in the Champions League for 2 years, not 6. Sorry, Conte has bigger pull than Arsenal. Osimhen won't want to leave Napoli for Arsenal and play in the Europa Conference, not in the Conference League, the Europa League. Sorry. Have hope. How could players pick a manager that can walk away anytime? Is your question to you?
What is in direct relation to Conte?
Conte, yeah.
Well, because they say like at least if I can win a trophy within this 1 year, cool. I would rather go and see if I can win a trophy for 1 year for Conte than be stuck with Arteta, who, as I said again, the guy is only known for putting out cones for Pep. It is what it is. So
there we go. This Tottenham guy should be on the same legal team Amber Rudd hired the way he is defending that club. It's been said there. Arsenal is worldwide. The closest thing to a Spurs here in in South Africa is the Nando's logo. Wayne here says Arsenal was never in for Basuma. Stop using Basuma like Arsenal had any interest, is what Wayne says. Liverpool attract players like Torres, Suarez, Xavi, as in Xavi Alonso, and so on and so forth. And when is Spurs attract a player of that level? Never. So please wake up. Liverpool going there. And someone here taking the mick out my transfer emojis, and they also replied with, that covers all angles. You're absolutely right. It does cover all aspects of transfers. It's just what I use on Twitter. It's a little bit of fun. If you don't like it, you know what you can do? You can block me, my friend. It really won't bother me. I can assure you I will go home tonight. I'll have a dip in my swimming pool in my back garden, and I won't think any more about you, mob. Imagine calling yourself mob. Mob. Anyway, why can't Arsenal fans accept the fact that Basuma picked Tottenham over you guys? And if he really wanted you guys, he would have waited for Arsenal, is what Joshua Jack has got to say there. Throwing some smoke at you gooners.
Yeah.
United are the biggest club in the Milky Way galaxy, but at least City's 10 fans don't have to sit through the torture of watching McFred in midfield. That is true. That is true. What's your response there, Jess, to what Joshua had to say? That you can't accept the fact that Basuma rejected you for Tottenham.
He would have been waiting for a long, long time for that bid to come in because Arteta's never really wanted him. I'm sorry. And there's never been, I mean, if that were true, there would be no reports that we weren't interested in him. There's just enough information out there that there was interest, but we never put in a bid. So he would have been waiting for a long time. And he probably knew that. Everybody, like, come on. But I get it. If we lost out on him to Tottenham, fair enough. Because I also don't really care enough. Like, we have to do what's best for us. Like, it's not that deep. Like, you guys got him. You beat us out to him. Cool. Is that what you needed to hear? So you can sleep well at night? You beat us.
I mean, it sounds like what you wanted to hear, because you need to make yourself feel confident. But okay.
No, I am confident because I also said the truth that Conte gives you guys an edge, that you guys can attract really good players. Like, the thing is like, you guys just want to hear only that Arsenal are just crap, and you got, like, it's not black and white like that. You guys got him. He's a great player. I never even said that he was crap. Like, a lot of Arsenal fans went back and said that Bissouma was crap after he went to Spurs. Never did that. Went right on this channel and said, great player, would have made us better. Wish we would have went after him, but we didn't get him. Move on. Like, it is what it is.
There we go. Oral Campbell here says that this Spurs fan is mad cocky. That's George for you. But I would say coffee. It's confident in his opinions. It is what it is. It is what it is. Nigerians fancy Arsenal or Chelsea? HH, you know this. Why do Arsenal? Why do Nigerians fancy Chelsea or Arsenal have hope? I'm asking you because, as far as I can tell, or I know, you're the only Nigerian on the panel.
So what's the question? Do Nigerians prefer Chelsea or Arsenal?
No, do they fancy Arsenal or Chelsea? That they prefer to play for those clubs?
To be honest, either. Because see, Arsenal, there's a whole Nwankwo Kanu link, and with Chelsea, there's the Obi Mikel link. So really, it's either. But I will say though that Arsenal is the most supported club in Nigeria. So that is the most popular club in Nigeria is Arsenal. So
there we go. I want to ask you guys a question as well. This is probably going to trigger another interesting debate. David Ornstein has come out this afternoon, and I'll quote what he said here, that Frenkie de Jong to Man United will eventually happen, depending on what person you listen to. It's a game of poker with Barcelona. Erik ten Hag wants to build around Frenkie de Jong, who he loves clearly. Do you guys feel that Man United, I mean, it feels like United will get it done. A lot of people are saying we're begging. I'll give my take on it in a bit. But do you guys feel like Man United are bending over too far to sign Frenkie de Jong? Or do you believe that they're approaching this in the right way? Or do you feel like are United coming across desperate in your opinions?
United are desperate. See, here's the thing. It's because United
I
are
don't
in a
think
lose-lose
so.
situation because it's like you...
How?
Because De Jong has, because he is important for United. So because of basically it's tricky. De Jong is important, but he's only important if you bring other players in. If United like shake the whole earth and everything and gets freaking Frenkie, and that's on all it is Frenkie playing with Fred Flintstone and Scott McSauce, United ain't going anywhere. It has to be him with other skilled midfielders as well. But the thing though is this guy has said, I'm happy at Barca. Barca is cool. I don't want to go to United. And let's be real. Nobody willingly leaves Barcelona or Real Madrid to go anywhere. You get forced out. So nobody leaves Barcelona to now go to any other club because you can't go higher than Barca or Real. That's just, it is what it is. So if Frank is going, it's if Barca are literally pushing him out, saying piss off, because we need to open up the whole wage structure. But Frank himself is saying, I don't want to go. The only thing that will be attracting me is Daddy, aka Ten Hag. But I don't want to play with a 38-year-old geriatric called Cristiano. So, but United need him for Ten Hag's system. So it is what it is.
I mean, this is their number one target. Don't you have to work it a little bit with your number one target? I mean, it's important for them to get the signing done. And I don't think there's anything out there that would make me think that Manchester United don't have the ability or the funds to get more players than just Frenkie de Jong. Unless they can't walk and chew gum at the same time, I would imagine that they're working on other deals as well. It looks like they want to get Eriksen too. So I think you kind of have to twerk a little bit for your number one target, especially when you're not as attractive. I know Arsenal, we know that, like when you're not, and I think this is the first time that Manchester United, especially the fans, are feeling it. Welcome. Welcome. When you're not as attractive as you used to be, you got to twerk a little bit. You got to get on the pole. You got to do it. Like, because it just, you're not as attractive as you used to be. Like, and I see some Manchester United fans, I'm like, ooh, they're feeling it for the first time. But I think they have to do whatever it takes to get their number one target, because
Exactly.
whatever else is out there is not. Frenkie de Jong is a class player. I mean, half hope, do you not rate him, or what? Because there's not a lot of players out there like him.
No,
in my opinion.
Look, Frankie, he's really good, but he isn't like this amazing supernova talent and so forth. Like, let's be real. Like, if you get him, he plays in a double pivot, so you have to get him with other guys as well. He isn't like this supernova, amazingly talented guy like a Modric, Xavi, Iniesta. No, he ain't that kind of guy. Hence why, if you're getting Frenkie, you have to know for sure we're also getting 2 or 3 guys as well. If you're only all in for Frenkie and thinking that Frenkie alone will change United, oh no, hell no, then no. So it's like, let's be real, Frankie's not world class. He isn't amazing. He flopped at Barcelona. Barca will not miss him. Like, Pedri and Gavi are way better than Homeboy.
A flop.
So,
Don't you think flop's very harsh? I have to like.
Yeah,
a
he
flop
flopped,
is
he
being
flopped.
very harsh. I
He
would say
flopped.
that he's struggled. I think that
This
he's
is a
struggled
bad
there,
era
but
for Barcelona as well. So
yeah, I think he's struggled, but I think the fact that he's come out numerous of times and said he's flattered that they're interested, but I'm at the biggest club in world football and I'm happy where I am. Because he's come out and said that so many times, I think it comes across very desperate from Manchester United to still pursue the deal, knowing that you are Manchester United at one, not even just one stage, just 5-10 years ago, you were the biggest club in world football, and you can go to these clubs and take their players. And it's not like Frenkie de Jong is their best player or important to them, like Have Hope has said. He's just a player, a part of the system. So Man United should be very easy to be able to be like, look, I want you to come and be our main player, and he should accept it. The fact that he's not turned it down, but not been open to the move is very telling to where Man United are. And as just said, it's a reality check, a one that you guys have needed for a long time.
It's real.
I kind of agree with you, John, to be fair, because
go
I
ahead.
think I agree with Jess and Jules together, to be honest with you, because I think United, if that's the player that you want, and if that's what Ten Hag wants, then you kind of got to do everything you can to get them, right? But on the other hand, if this was my club, and you keep seeing these reports of he said X, Y, and Z, it's a little bit. You do start to think as a fan anyway, because we're not in the boardroom, we don't know what's actually being
Vlahovic, girl. Vlahovic.
It's
brutal.
It's a little bit worrying.
I look at it the other way. There's a few things on this Frenkie de Jong deal, and I've kind of been rethinking it over the last few days. There's zero desperation, in my opinion. Were Real Madrid desperate in 2009 when they signed Ronaldo? Were we calling them a desperate club? A year earlier, Ronaldo signed a new deal. He did say that he said that he's going to play with heart and soul. I remember being interviewed before the 2009 Champions League final. Are you going to leave this summer? I'm happy here. I'm at the biggest club in the world. This is something players say when they have whether they have a desire to leave or they not. And we knew Ronaldo wanted to leave, but he still said, no, I'm happy here, biggest club in the world, all that jazz. I'm going to play with heart and soul and this type of thing. It's very, very normal for a player to do this, because if Man United and Barca don't come to an agreement, he has to face those Barcelona fans next year. Equally, were Real Madrid desperate when they signed David Beckham, Jordan?
What was that, sorry?
Were Real Madrid a desperate, pathetic club when they signed David Beckham?
Obviously not desperate, but they it's different. They attracted him from you guys, and it wasn't like they had to beg for him to come.
It's not true. United aren't begging for anybody to come. David Beckham sat in his car after Fergie told him he was leaving and cried his eyes out because he didn't want to leave Manchester United.
That's fair. Do you know why?
It's not about begging. I want to finish my point here.
Yeah.
Sorry, people are calling it this. 5 weeks, Man United have been working on this deal. The difference between us and a lot of other clubs is that we're the biggest club. We are the biggest club in the world, especially when it comes to social media and media. Facts are out there to be seen. People can laugh all they want, but we simply are.
The shampoos, yeah.
It's not about that. I mean, if you look at the amount of, you do the research into how many tweets about the Premier League are made and what percentage attribute to Man United, it's a huge percentage out of 20 teams that play in the league. We've been working on this deal for 5 weeks, and everybody's saying it's desperate and long. Yuri Tillemans to Arsenal, 12 months in the making, that deal to get it over the line. Liverpool for Darwin Núñez. Their own top journalists were talking about the players, and the club chirped him up and chatting to him all the way back in February and March. For 3-4 months working on that deal. Jesus to Arsenal. People are praising it, saying what great business. The first major report about that came out around about the 30th, the 31st of March. So 2.5-3 months, the deal still isn't done. Suddenly, Man United are dealing with a situation with Barcelona where they're trying to hike the price up. A player that isn't in a desperate need to move, but is willing to, but is remaining professional. We're 5 weeks in and we're being told that this is abnormal. This is desperate. 5 weeks is far too long. When you actually do your research into most transfers, they're never a week. They're never 2 weeks. They're never 3 weeks. This is a fallacy. I bet when things are delved into and looked into a bit more detail, I bet you Spurs have been working on Yves Bissouma for a while. I bet they've been. I bet they didn't start a week ago working on Yves Bissouma. I bet it's been weeks and weeks and weeks.
Do you know what this reminds me of, Terry? It reminds me of when Tottenham were running down after Bastoni all those weeks. That's what it reminds me of, because he come out a few times. He said, "I'm happy at Inter. I want to stay at Inter," and that's very similar to De Jong. He said, "I'm happy here. I want to stay here," and it's not a waste of time because he will eventually come. You guys are going to cough up the money, but it still comes across desperate. Being as big as you are, having to tell this player, "Look, I want you to come. I want you to come," and he's come out and saying, "I'm happy where I am."
By your same logic, you are a desperate club for having Harry Kane play for you.
What was that? Sorry, cut out.
Of course, you're desperate for having Harry Kane in your team. You must not want Harry Kane.
We're desperate for Harry Kane. I am desperate for Harry Kane. We would do anything to keep Harry Kane at Tottenham.
Again, so it depends on your definition of desperate. Of course, Man United are desperate for a world-class midfield player. All of our clubs are desperate for world-class players.
Terry, would you care? Like, do you care? Like, at the end of the day, do you care about the perception if you get him? You don't care, do you?
I don't personally care because I don't feel that it's desperate. I find it hilarious watching rival fans try to play down the fact that Man United, who are in the mud, that are dead, that every single summer since Fergie left, we're never attracting anybody, we're not signing anybody, and we pull them in. The only reason we fail is not about a lack of pull or spend. It's because we never actually maintain a project for long enough. My fear isn't attracting players per se. It's that 18 months into this Ten Hag project, we go in a different direction. What I'm desperate for is for us to stay the fucking course with one manager for more than 18 months. That's far more problematic that we 18 months in, 2 years in, the Glazers go, "Oh, look at that manager over there. He's doing bits. Let's go and get him." Yeah, but he's not the same style. He doesn't like the same players. It means starting over. Fuck it. It'll be a laugh. That's the way we're run. That's more of a problem for me. What I find frustrating, though, is how we're the only club that spends 5 weeks on a deal and it's turned into a circus. Like, that's absolutely abnormal. Doesn't happen. It's terrible behavior from the football club. And at the same time, the same journalists are writing stories how Liverpool have been working on Darwin Núñez for 4 months. Why is that not desperate then? I don't understand the changing of the logic between those two things.
I think it's the idea that Frenkie de Jong doesn't want you. And I think it's more that than how long it's taking. I think just that initial nugget of like that seed that came out that he didn't want to come and he's being forced out. I think that's grown and manifested, and it's affecting your fan base a lot too. You can just tell, like, there's that, like, he doesn't want us.
It's because our fan base are weak, and they live in this world like we're playing FIFA. Football players, their decision making around football isn't based on emotion like football fans. It never has been, and it never ever will be. Football players will agree. So you shouldn't have to convince a player to join. Hang on a minute. Liverpool, PSG, and Real Madrid were all signing Tchouaméni. Does that mean Real Madrid are wrong because he considered other clubs? It's a fallacy. It's an absolute fallacy. I don't even know who created it. It's the weirdest thing in the world for me. Man United aren't desperate. We are on the edge, and I think we're very close to getting a very good deal from the best midfielders in the world. And our rival fans are jealous in that. They're jealous that we're able to still do it after failing for so long. So they try and turn it into a negative. It's as simple as that.
Wait, sorry, let me ask you this. Wait, do you honestly believe that Frenkie de Jong wants to join Man United? He wants to leave and join Man United.
I'm not saying he 100% wants to leave Barca. Barca are looked at in a better position. But do I think that when the decision is made, and if you actually read the credible reports from Barca, not so much what's been said in England, they've not been talking money for 3 weeks there. They've been talking Barca want to move on from him. They want to try something different. They want Kessie to come in, and then they want to have a little bit of, they want Gavi and they want Pedri. Of course, academy players. There's a kind of heritage in that and a love, and they want to they're trying to recreate a Xavi and Iniesta situation. I think they want a little bit of Kessie in there because, you know, Kessie could be a little bit of a cheat code in the league. You know what I mean? They want a bit of that P&P. You know what I'm saying? So they're looking to move Frenkie de Jong on. The reason they're looking for the money, by the way, Kessie is a technically gifted football player as well, but you know what I'm saying. They're looking for the money, but it's because if he sits on the bench next year, he goes for cheaper the following year, and they're trying to cash in. It doesn't worry me at all. It's the same as the other report from Ornstein today about Man United. And this has triggered people. Champions League football is not a deal breaker for Christian Eriksen. He will give serious consideration to Manchester United's offer. Again, Spurs, I've said Spurs are the front runners. Spurs are the front runners for him. Yeah, the Spurs have been the front runners for him all along. Every journalist has said
wow.
Spurs are leading the way, and we have
Don't
to
say
understand.
that, Jess.
We have to understand why. You know, he's been there before. Familiarity is really important. He's also based in London now. His family, it means not moving again per se. I'm not too sure exactly where he's based, but I'm pretty sure he's living in a vicinity to be able to travel easily to training and to games for Tottenham, and they're leading the way. But there is this delusional notion that he won't consider Manchester United. It's why would I even think about joining Man United? That's the level of delusion in that opinion is
No,
absolutely.
can you tell us why he's going to consider United? I would just like to hear why you think he would
He
consider...
will, even as a Tottenham fan. I know he will. He's 30. He's looking to secure his family's future. Man United are going to offer him a big package, and especially
wait,
play under Ten
are
Hag. He will go there if he wants the
Well,
bigger
are
money.
you-
He'll go there.
Money's part of it.
I'll let you
Sorry.
finish. Sorry.
Right, money's part
I
of
was
it.
just gonna ask Jordan.
No, go on, Jay. Go on.
I was just gonna ask, like, are you counting on him to come back, Jordan, or no? Do you care?
I'm counting on him coming home. I care a lot, and if he goes to
Okay.
Man United, I'm going to be fuming. But I know there's a possibility.
So now I want him to go to Man United. That's what I want.
I like Spurs front runners, but as a comment here says, you know, Terry, he left Spurs for a reason the first time round. Okay, so it was a reason to leave Spurs. And so to answer Colleen's question, if I'm Man United, I'm selling it to him. I'm putting that X is an X for a reason notion into his head. Secondly, Ten Hag is a big pull, one of the most talented I know he's only in his 50s, but he's kind of up and coming in the world. He's moving into the big jobs now. He's an exciting guy to play for. Comes with that Ajax style, which of course Eriksen is going to know and understand. The money that Man United offer him will be very, very good and lucrative, securing his family's future as well. And there is one thing that we missed out in terms of the attractive conversation earlier. I've had this conversation with footballers personally. When I was very fortunate, I met Neves, Jota, the day they signed for Wolves at Wolves. My old job put me in that position. And also Nuno, your ex-manager, Jordan. And I asked them why Wolves are the Champions League teams that went in for them. And at the time, there was a big feeling around Wolves that Wolves were going to try and build a team that could compete in the Champions League. And what they were sold on and they bought into was creating something that hadn't existed at Wolverhampton Wanderers for generations. Yes, they paid them very well, but they also bought into this notion. When I sat there with these guys, and they weren't chatting nonsense because they thought I was in the media. This was just general chit-chat. They were like, I really am excited about what they're trying to do, grow and build here. Now, it hasn't worked out for Wolves. They haven't carried on growing in that direction. They weren't able to spend the money they wanted to, and things haven't quite gone how they wanted. But the idea of being part of a team that could get back to competing for titles and winning trophies again at Man United, it in itself is an attraction. Because if Eriksen and everyone we buy this year was part of a team that in 2 years' time, and don't laugh when I say this, win the Premier League, that is a bigger achievement than winning an FA Cup with Spurs.
It's
Not
not.
just the title, but a legacy reason.
For him,
Fame you get.
Colleen.
Huge.
we're not Terry, let me tell you why it won't be. For one, he, as you said, he played at Tottenham for the majority of his career. Tottenham's the one team that he spent the most time at. He's a Tottenham fan. He's a Tottenham boy. He wants to come back to Tottenham. And if he does come back to Tottenham, there's nothing bigger than, because when he left Tottenham, the reason he left because he wanted to win trophies. We were willing to offer him any money he wanted. It was quite well documented in All or Nothing. And he just wanted to win trophies. If he can come back to Tottenham and win a trophy under the manager that he just won a trophy with, I don't think there's nothing bigger than that, whether it's a league title with Man United or not.
I call absolute cap on that, my friend. If he wins a league title with Manchester United, it propels him, even in his home country, he becomes one of the most famous Danes in the history. I mean, probably already is because of what happened at the World Cup, but he becomes one of the most famous Danes, one of the most famous sports people in his nation's history overnight. Man United are that big, that potent, that powerful. It's Beatlemania at Man United. And listen, we may not get to that point. This project could fail, it could fall away. I'm not being delusional in that. But in terms of Colleen's question, why would he? That's what he's considering. I still make Tottenham the front runners, by the way. But what I'm annoyed about is this notion of, won't consider it. And there's no logic to him not considering Manchester United. It never makes any sense to me whatsoever. Got a lot of super chats here that have come through since we've been talking that I've got to go through. Nothing lasts forever in this world. To big club merchants like Arsenal and Man United, times have changed. Not even the Roman Empire survived. I hear you on that. That's a good point. As an Arsenal fan, I don't give an F about Basuma. Man's facing assault allegations and might not play in Premier League football ever again, is what Benjamin says. The last time we played poker with a club, it took us over a year to sign him. And listen, I agree with that element. I agree with the element of I don't think we'll get the job done. That's a fair take. That's a fair take. but desperation is the wrong word for it for me. But we did. But that's a different group of people doing it. But we'll see what happens. This is the biggest myth that Conte isn't a long-term manager. He was at Juve for 9 years because of the board and him were on the same path. I can see the same with Spurs and Conte, unlike Chelsea and Inter. I agree with that take, by the way. If Spurs give him what he wants and keep him happy, he'll stay. He only leaves clubs when they piss him off. So just don't piss him off. just give him. Why would you not give a world-class manager exactly what he wants, especially if he's winning? Man United has zero self-respect for the biggest English club. Frenkie de Jong has publicly rejected you twice and doesn't want to leave Barca. Should sell him for Lewandowski. Koundé after we approve 700 million in Koundé after we approve 700 million injection today. Casey, they're a Barca fan. Again, you'll say there's zero self-respect. You know, you guys selling just so that you can sign players. You're letting people get married on your football pitch. Where's your self-respect, bro? Do you know what I'm saying? You guys are selling yourself like $10 hookers, and you're telling us to have self-respect, Casey. Come on, my guy. Unless you win the Champions League, you are a Barca flop. Simple. And that's fair. I don't care if he's a Barca flop. I don't care if he's a Barca flop. I really don't. It will improve us. What's up with the sexual tension between Dress and the Spurs guy? Oh, wow. That's an interesting comment there from Nigel. Those absolute Muppets throwing shade at Frenkie de Jong. He is world-class and walks into every Premier League starting 11. Erik ten Hag, go on and twerk, baby. Absolutely. Listen, twerk away as long as we get him. The quality of twerking that was showcased by Man United for Frenkie de Jong makes Cardi B and Nicki Minaj look like amateurs. # shameless is what's being said. They're shameless, Man United, for wanting a top-quality midfielder. Imagine that. By the way, Haaland took City a year to get agreed, but 5 weeks is too long. Frenkie de Jong cannot say anything else besides "I'm happy here." Exactly. Because we all have meltdowns, don't we, when our players talk about wanting to leave. When Pogba spoke about wanting to leave, we called him a scumbag. We called him an absolute virus. Well, Frenkie de Jong does the opposite. Terrible. Let me just go through this super chat. Sorry.
Go ahead, yeah.
It's a sign of the patience that's the suicidal fan base is supposedly happy to give Erik ten Hag. Doesn't last long, eh? Yeah, listen, the Man United fans having meltdowns, they're liars, they're charlatans, they're fakes. They're not real Man United fans. They're just, it's the only thing that gets them traction online is being angry. Will Have Hope ever not wear those shades on a stream? Will you ever take your sunglasses off, Have Hope?
No.
No. Simple answer. Ten Hag, 2 Hags, 1 Hag, no Hag. Sell your club to the Arabs. If Barca are trying to recreate the Xavi and Iniesta case, United are trying to recreate Fergie. Fair enough. Maybe we are. Maybe it'll work. Who knows? Arsenal only have more pull when they overpay players. If we threw 200k a week contracts at players desperately, we would get players Arsenal could. I don't know who that's.
Looks like he's a Tottenham fan with Paratici as his.
Is that Paratici? There we go. Playing for United is an all different level to Spurs. That's from a Liverpool fan then. I agree. Of course I agree. Jordan won't, but there we go. Cap Terry, City snatched him hours after the season opened. Yeah, hang on. Brother. You think Man City for the last 12 months? So do you know how I know it's Cap? A year ago, his father and his agent, God rest his soul, went on a European tour speaking to every club who wanted to buy him, including City. Everybody started working on Haaland over a year ago. You didn't start work on Haaland last week, G. It's not how it works. Fake United fan for not having faith or trusting in Myrtle is madness. Good job, the Glazers. Good job, Glazer defender Terry. Hope the Kool-Aid tasted good. Me, a Glazer defender. You're calling me, Terry Flewers, a Glazer defender. You're not going to trigger me. Is that a gal's burner? Listen,
I do not want to see that again.
90% of the angry Man United fans online are angry because they don't have any other commodity on these platforms. If they don't shout, no one listens. How much donation would you need? How much would you need to be paid, Have Hope, to remove them glasses?
There isn't any amount. Like, I mean, what do people keep on? It's never happening. This is me. This is Have Hope. The shades will always stay on.
You can kind of see your eyes though, a little bit.
All right. Calm down. Have you seen the new Chelsea kit? I despise Nike with a passion. It's just a white collar. I can do that. Adidas all day long. What a load of rubbish. Yeah, I don't really review kits. I'm 36 years old. But there we go. Newcastle will win the Premier League before Man United. That's an interesting take, but there we go. In terms of some of the other things that are kind of going on at the minute, I did want to ask you guys' opinion on Paul Pogba today. He kind of had a bit of a dig at Manchester United, said the 300 grand a week offer was nothing. He wants to he seems very sore that Eric Ten Hag told him no, pulled the contract away and said, we don't want you anymore. And we're going for Frenkie de Jong. Sorry? Oh, it's part of the Pog Ventry. Yeah, I'm not promoting his stuff. He's an ex-United player, KD. I'm not promoting. No, I'm joking.
Oh, Terry, don't be like that, man. Don't be like
That's
that.
a joke. Calm down. What did you guys make of his comment? Do you feel like he's right in speaking about United in that way, or do you find it's disrespectful to the club and the fans? What are you guys saying?
No, not disrespectful, but I'm like, look, Pogba, you failed. And now you can say you failed because you were playing with mixed sauce and all this kind of stuff and everything, and there was not the right foundation. Because when the move was made, I knew this was a bad move. Because I was watching every week at Juve say, no, Pogba needs a Vidal or a Pirlo or like a Marquise to sort of work at United, not the trash he was with that clown Bruno Fernandes. So him saying that, I wasn't supported and everything, like, Pogba, what do you mean you weren't supported? You failed as an individual in terms of your production and how consistent you could be. You were not good enough for what was promised. So him saying that, it's not being disrespectful. It's just sort of like, it doesn't compete. It doesn't really make sense. Like, I don't understand that statement. So,
I mean, it shows you where his head's at. He's very focused on the money. The fact that you offered him 300k and he calls it a nothing offer, I think it's hugely disrespectful. Especially, he called it the club where he said he found it was his home when he came back. He wanted to take you guys to the next level. He failed to do so himself. So it's very disrespectful. I'd be fuming if it was a player that left Tottenham and done that.
Yeah, I'll remain consistent on this. Like, I don't like this at all. Like, it may be like Manchester United, and obviously you look at it and you're like, oh, that's kind of funny, but it's not. You know, when your players come out and they failed and they didn't play well and fake injuries so that they don't have to play for you, and then come out and act like victims or act like they deserve something that they didn't. It's just crap. So like, Pogba only has himself to blame, in my opinion. He didn't have to go back to Manchester United. You know, there was many times where I looked at him and I was like, if I was a Manchester United fan, I would just want to slap him because he was not giving his all. Like, it's just crap. So it's funny, but you know, I just don't like players doing that. Like, it's just like, shut up.
But that's like for me, I think you can't just say that he wasn't given an effort and so forth. I think when you're playing with trash around you, how much more can you do? He was playing around trash. So
yeah, no, like, I understand that aspect. So if he's giving his all and it's not coming off because of the players around him are crap, then I hear you. But there's just moments where you looked at him and you were like, you can't even be asked. Like, you know what I mean? And so it's not like, I get what you're saying, but he's also being paid a lot of money to give his all. So it's like, it's not like he's out there doing charity. You know what I mean? Like, we can't say that. Like, can anybody on here say that they feel like they watch Pogba give 110%? You can tell when you can tell. You can
he gave an effort, man. You can't do no. You can't say that. Like,
he gave an effort, but not all effort.
Hope, did you even see his most recent game for France? You can see, like, this guy just doesn't have the mentality to play, for me, at the higher level. Like, he's just not a player that's committed.
Wait, mate.
I'm not saying he's not. No, he's a
don't
talented player. He doesn't have
Nabil is
the
a walk-up winner.
mentality.
Don't do that. He's a walk-up winner. Respect Nabil. Respect.
I see what you're doing, but the mentality to be able to drag your team, whether he's played with rubbish or not. I've seen Harry Kane play with rubbish, but he's dragged our team.
Don't do that.
And he's given it all.
Don't compare Kane to Pogba. Don't do that.
Again, we're just talking about what they've for his club. Pogba has failed Manchester United, and what people do, like yourself, like you protect Pogba, make it seem like Man United have failed him, and that's why he has this entitlement, and he has to take responsibility.
United, look, Pogba could have done better and played better, 100%, but don't make it as if United did not fail him. You brought in Pogba expecting him to, by himself, with trash around him, take United forward. But United's stupidity is you didn't bring him with other players and surround him with quality around him. That was the issue. So United did fail him. You could have done better, but
I
United
think
also
it's
failed him.
both.
I
I
think
think the
both things,
relationship failed on both sides.
both things are at play here because listen, this is a player who I think sometimes he was over scrutinized as a football player. Like everyone expected every game to assist, to score, to dominate. He's the only midfielder I've ever seen when people review him who expected him to do everything. He had to be the chief creator, the dominator in midfield, control the tempo of the game, do things that no other midfielder is told to do in a game, everything. At the same time, though, this guy from January of 2018, him and his agent have been talking to other clubs on a consistent basis. He's been doing the opposite to Frenkie de Jong every single summer, talking about new challenges, wanting to leave, wanting to move on. And there is an element of disrespect in there. And yeah, he probably feels let down by Manchester United. And I can kind of understand that. I don't really mind the whole, it's that how can you be proving Man United wrong by doing well at Juve, but also call their offer a nothing offer when it was 300 grand a week? The two things seem a little bit offhand to me. Either we made you this substantial offer and we pulled it away, therefore you want to prove us wrong, or we didn't. I don't understand it. Like it's a mad in the climate we live in, where some people can't even afford to feed their kids. To call it a nothing offer to offer you 300 grand plus a week is absolutely crazy, considering this is a player that hadn't won us the league and hadn't helped win us the Champions League. And I know nobody in the team had done that, but for any Man United player to act like, oh, I should be earning what the Ronaldos and the Messis of this. No, you shouldn't, because of what they've achieved in the game. And I think there's such an element of disrespect in this. It was a massive offer that he was given. I think where his knickers are in a twist is it was pulled away by Eric Ten Hag when he came in. He said, no, I prefer Frenkie de Jong. I don't want this player at the club anymore. He doesn't and I think Ten Hag's right. He doesn't really want to be here, because it shouldn't have taken until the end of the season for him to make his mind up. Like, he should have been gone sooner. So there is a bit of disrespect in this. I do get where Have Hope's coming from, because we have fouled him. We fouled everybody at the football club in the last 9 years. But Pogba's been part of that problem group where he ain't been giving his all in these games. I've seen so many games where he's been playing in second gear. And then I've watched him in the international break at France. And it isn't just about being surrounded by quality. You can tell the difference in effort. He isn't the only one at Man United. That's why I never singled him out. Rashford become like that. Martial was like it. Bruno, that started brilliantly. Last 3 months last season, he didn't care. He wasn't trying. The club's systematic with it. But at the same time, you're still responsible for your behaviors. You're still responsible. And I think that shouldn't be taken away.
Yeah, for sure. Pogba's just one of those where it's like I get that he probably feels let down. And I mean, I'm sure that Man United, when he came back, promised it was going to be different, so he feels let down. But like, it's just, I don't know. And he kind of feels like the type of person, like we all know that person that never comes to the party, but always wants to be invited. Like, I do think that he wanted that contract sitting there for him to reject it, because if you don't want to be there, why do you care? You're getting exactly what you want. And so there's probably just some bad blood there. But I also don't like how the fan base overdoes it with Pogba, but I can see why they're frustrated. There's a lot of different sides to it. I don't think it's black and white.
Yeah, no. I think, look, I mean, Pogba, you can't sort of say that you were not appreciated enough or loved enough when you've not really put out the desired performances on the pitch. For whatever reason it may be, and so forth, you'll only have a little bit of cachet or support if it's like, man, look at the amount of performances that they had under duress and so forth. Similar to like Willian during the Mourinho mutiny, where everybody just sort of said, screw it, we're not going to sack Uncle Moo. But Willian, 100%, he still said what's up every single week. So you've not done it. So you're now saying that, oh, I wasn't shown love or blah, blah, to the disrespect. Where's that coming from when I'm looking at the performance week to week, and this isn't the Pogba I see for France. This is not the Pogba I see at the Euros or the World Cup. So, you have no grounding to say that. So.
I get that. And look, viewers, you'll have your say on Paul Pogba. As I say, like, it's a bit confusing because was the offer pulled? Was it a nothing offer? What was it? Like, if it's a nothing offer, I'd love you to reveal what it was you were offered. Like, that's the bit for me when footballers say, I was offered a bad contract. Show me what you think bad was. Like, and I'm not comparing it to what normal working class people were earning per se, but it's like, I bet you it was 300,000 plus. And I don't see how you can call that a nothing offer. I'm glad Ten Hag now, though, reflecting on it, I'm glad we're looking to move on. Terry asked that guy who did more, Bruno or Pogba. I think he's talking about you, Have Hope. Who did more for Man United, Bruno or Pogba?
First of all, I have a name, and my name is Have Hope. So, and second of all, who did more in terms of what?
For Man United performance.
Who did more?
We did more. You know what I mean? Who's played the best? Who's done the most for Man United, in your opinion? Pogba or Bruno
That's a
Fernandes?
loaded question, man. That's a loaded question, man.
That's why he's asking. You have to give
I
an
can answer it. It's very simple. Bruno's had more consistency in performances in the shorter time he's been here, but Paul Pogba has been part of a team that's won us trophies. So Paul Pogba's done more overall because in the end of the day, trophies are the only commodity that we deal in. So Pogba has done more because he's won trophies. So that's what I would say, but not the trophies we want, and then not the consistency. So that's what I'd say. Some more super chats, and we'll speak a bit about Man City in their window. Man United, even at their poor and dysfunctional state, still attract the same of best talents, and that's painful for rivals to accept, is what Joshua Jack says there. Terry, who will win, Triple G or Canelo? Oh, they're fighting a third time. I'm going to go with the age now. I'm going to go with Canelo, because Triple G is just a little bit too old. Even though Triple G is my guy, I'm going to go with Canelo on this. Although I don't want him to, because he's a drugs treat and he shouldn't be allowed to box again. Cool. Luis Diaz is a bum. He's a mediocre player with a little bit of flair and no end product. Spurs to finish ahead of Liverpool next season, guaranteed.
I'm not gonna buy into that one yet.
That's not a bad take, guys.
You were feeling it until he said that last part. You were like,
bro. It's not a bad, like, if you think about it, if Liverpool sell Mane, who scores most of the important goals, Charles Darwin comes in and finds time to readjust. Luis Diaz doesn't really score that many goals, and you're now relying mostly on Salah. And if Conte gets all of his targets, Tottenham beat City twice. They should have beaten Liverpool twice. Tottenham could be City's closest challengers, man. It's not beyond the realm. It's not beyond the realm.
Maybe. Is that John Jones with a London accent? Talk about you. I don't think you look like John Jones. Does Jordan look like John Jones, the MMA fighter? Yeah,
no, it's got to be have hope. He's got to be on about. Surely,
no,
I don't know.
It's you, man. It's you.
Yeah, I think that's a mad one. You got a beard. That's about it. Trolling. I don't know what. Of course, right? Is that what that means? Yeah, I'm old. I don't know. With the Glazer defender, I know you were my friend. But how are Man United fans fake hysterical for not trusting the club? There's not trusting the club, but there's having absolute meltdowns now for no reason. Some of these guys are tweeting about certain players every day. They're throwing their toys out their pram. And a lot of them, my friend, they're not even reading the reports. They're not even listening to what's actually being said and the process that's going on. They're just reading. They're like Twitter journalism. They just read the headline and they don't watch the video, or they don't read the article, or they don't listen to the segment from the radio station, and then they talk about it. And there's one that doesn't do that, Daniel Devil in the Details. And he literally schools people all the time online because they'll say something and then he'll break down the actual details of what's going on. And they very rarely respond to him because they just want to be outraged for no reason. If they did a bit of research, took a bit of time to educate themselves on the matters, I don't think they'd be as angry, my friend. That's my view. I'm not playing down the warning signs. I'm saying just remain calm. We're a few days in. We're working on. The thing is, with this summer, Man United are doing things that these same very fans have moaned about us not doing in the past. So get rid of the dead wood that cause problems first before you add new players. Now we're looking to do that. Well, we've got to sign the players first. If we walked away from trying to negotiate for Frenkie de Jong early, they'd say, well, how can we give up so easy? Whatever we do, they'll look for the negatives. I can read it a mile away, my guy. Have hope. How are we supposed to build around a guy when he can't stay fit, who's not fully committed, who runs his mouth every international break to other clubs and says 350K is nothing? Yeah, having a go at you there, mate.
Wait. That is the dumbest job I've ever had in my life. No offense. I said build towards Pogba when you got him initially, which you didn't. Not build around Pogba now. The mistake was that you didn't build around him when you initially got him. That's the mistake. So...
What's that noise at the end? What's that noise about? There we go. I want to ask you guys as well. City have also signed Alvarez. They've signed Haaland. Cucurella looks like it's going to happen. And they're also heavily linked with Calvin Phillips. I mean, they've just won the league. How good a summer? How would you rate that as a summer? You know, Fernandinho replacement, Mendy replacement, Aguero replacement, and probably all for a combined total of about 130, 150, 160 million. What's your thoughts, peeps?
I think this is for the UCL. Look, let's be real. Pep has test tubed the EPL. 4 to 5 and so forth. It's not a rivalry. He's completely adopted the Premier League. This is for the UCL. Again, I have nothing against Pep with regards to what he's done in the league and in the EPL, but he's a UCL bum. And I think that these signings is to win a UCL because, again, unless he wins a UCL, he now knows that, like, Messi and Iniesta gave him life. So I think these are signings to just secure the EPL yet again because I don't think anyone will come close. And then it's to try and actually take that extra step into the Champions League as well. So
This is why I hate City. I despise them so much because these players that they're signing, the likes of Phillips, the likes of Cucurella, these are top players that can come into teams of probably any one of our teams and be a great signing. They're gonna be backup players for City. They're probably gonna be playing the Carabao Cup, FA Cup, come off the bench, but they're not going there to go start in their first 11, and they're willing to pay the big money for them and just put them on the bench. It's nothing you can do about it, and City are just unstoppable. They're showing it this season again. They're just going to go dap up all these good young players, and we can't stop them.
in the league, though, but what about the Champions League? In the league, for sure, but what about the Champions League, which is the main thing? Is like, because I mean, we have to really hold Pep's legs to the fire because he keeps spending all this oil money, 300, 400, 500 of all this oil money, and the guy has only given me one UCL final. You know,
The
I don't know,
UCL
man.
is not about the players that they have. I think it's just about choking. I think they have enough players to win it. Like I don't think it's about like. Do you
And
see
Pep
what
is
I'm
at
saying?
fault
Like,
for that as well. You have to hold Pep for choking as well. He
I mean,
has
I
to
hold
partly
him
blame.
responsible. I hold him responsible. You know, I just feel like, you know, these players are just like, oh, this is what we can do it, so let's just do it. But let's not act like. I mean, I like a lot of people didn't think that Man City would lose to Real Madrid at that point because we felt like the team was good enough, you know. So it's not really about the team. I think when they get to the UCL, something happens like up here. But yeah, like these players, I think it's just we can. It's fun. Just get some more players, you know, and they're
It's
going to recoup money for the players that they got already. Like they're going to make it up. Like they're going to get 50 million from Arsenal. And who knows how much if they decide to sell Sterling, they'll get 60 million. Like if they get rid of Zinchenko, it could be another 40. So they're chilling. They're, like I said, they're playing a completely different game than the rest of us. Like they're not even doing
Yeah.
anything similar to what the rest of us are doing. We're all just kind of holding on. So, yeah.
Yeah, I just think there might be a little bit of a stream issue. We've seen a big drop off from people. A lot of people saying there's a lag. If you're lagging, if you can still hear us, just refresh your stream. It's working on my phone on YouTube, so I'm not too sure what's happening with
Yeah, just
yourselves.
refresh. Something
I would say
does
to a lot of people when you see lag, just hit the
refresh.
refresh button, and it should work out. Look, I think what City are doing is it's ridiculously good, and people remember how much money they spent. They are spending a lot of money, but like 62 million for Haaland. What was Alvarez? What did it even cost? 20 million. So that's 80 there on two new strikers. Cucurella's costing, I don't know what Cucurella's costing. It's about 25, 30 mil, something like that. And 60 million for Calvin Phillips. It's a lot of money, but it isn't, they're not spending 80, 90, 100 million pounds more than everybody else. They're improving their squad brilliantly. But they've got one thing they've got the pull of being brilliant now and having one of the best managers in the world. And they're just phenomenal. They're just absolutely phenomenal at getting these deals done. And the speed, what I think is really impressive this summer is the speed of which they're getting these deals done and over the line. It's so quick. You know, they could essentially by maybe the end of this month before their preseason have all four of their new players ready to start work straight away in preseason. So they're ready for the new season, which makes them dangerous because they're really going to want to hit the ground running next year. They really, really are. And yeah, they're going to be dangerous as hell. They're going to be dangerous as well. Let's just say Terry, United are a listed entity with an estimated fan base of 75 million. Can't a hostile takeover be carried out by fans through crowdfunding? They tried that before and it never worked because a lot of these Man United fans will say they're United fans, but they're not prepared to like part with any money. They're not prepared to do that. So yes, in theory, Terry, what MMA did you fight? I never fought in MMA. I fought in kickboxing and Thai boxing, but never MMA.
Wait, was he like a kickboxing champion, like Olympic something.
Oh, no, not Olympic, not the Olympics. I did all right. But yeah, there was no MMA. Wasn't really. It was a thing. UFC existed, but it wasn't really a thing that many people participated in when I was younger. But there we go. Guys, listen, I appreciate you all coming on. Jordan, thanks for making your debut on the top 6. Colleen, it's always a pleasure. Have hope you know what the score is, brother. And Jess, thank you very, very much as well. 2 days running on the terrace, which is always very, very nice. Viewers, you're absolutely amazing. To all the super chatters, nothing but thanks and consideration to each and every single one of you. Make sure you hit the like button before you leave and subscribe. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very